So in this video we are going to look at the rectangle class that we had created earlier, and we are going to explore the access modifiers through this program. So as you can see, this is the class rectangle. It has got two instance variables, length and breadth, and one method called compute area, which returns the area of the rectangle. And then here I have a demo. I have a driver class or a tester class called class rectangle access mod. Okay, and then here I have the main function. So in the main function I am creating two objects, rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. And for the two rectangles I am assigning a length and a breadth directly. Similarly here also I am assigning the length and the breadth, and I am computing the area for both of these two rectangles objects. And finally what we are doing here is we are printing the values, printing the dimensions of rectangle and the area. So here as you can see, neither the instance variables nor the method has any access modifier preceding their declaration. So they all have the default access modifier, and since they have the default access modifier, so length and breadth I can access it here in the other class, which is rectangle access mod. So here please try to remember that we have two classes here. One is rectangle and the other is rectangle access mod. So from the rectangle access mod class I am directly accessing the length. You can see length I am accessing directly through the object R1 and through the object R2. Okay, so this is allowed because, as I had mentioned in the previous video, that in case of the default access modifier, it allows access of the data members if the classes are in the same package. So in this file I have two classes, in the same file I have two classes. So this is one grouping of classes. So this is, we can consider it to be a package. So since both the classes are in the same package, so default access modifier allows me to access the length and breadth in this manner. If I use the keyword public, you can see I have added the keyword public here, public, and here also public. Okay, you will notice when you run this program, you will notice that there is no difference, because this class is also within this. Since these are length and breadth are public, so they can be accessed from anywhere. So even if I had not written this class called rectangle access mod in the same file, I would have written it in a different file, I would still be able to access it. Why? Because these length breadth are public. So I can write statements like this. Now let me modify this and make it private. So let me make this and this as private. Okay, so length is private, breadth is private, but compute area is public. Okay, now let us save this and try to run this program and see. So I am here, I am about to run, so don't forget to set the path. So Java C rectangle demo access mod .java. So compile. So there you can see a whole lot of errors, 8 errors to be specific. So if you go back and see what is the error message, it says length has private access in rectangle. So in this line I am trying to access length. R1.length is assigned 10. I am assigning a value to length here. So it's saying that this is the error, that length has private access. So since it has private access, I cannot access it from outside. The same goes for breadth, because this is also private. Again, the same errors for the second object, rectangle R2, length and breadth, private access. Okay. Similarly, when I was trying to print, okay, I am trying to access length directly here, breadth directly here. It is not allowing me to. So length, it is saying the error, this first error is from this part, the second is from the breadth, the third is here for rectangle R2 length, and the last one here is for the R2 breadth. See, there it is not giving me any error for the area, compute area method, because we had given we have specified that it is going to be public. So let us modify again the program to make it work. So we will go back to the program. So here, this is private, these two are private, so it cannot access it directly. So what do? I'm just going to get my getter and setter methods that we had wrote in the previous class, and I'm going to just paste it here. So please bear with me while I go and get those files. So I'm just going to paste all my getter and setter methods. So to see how we have written this, you can go to the method, you can check the previous videos. So here, these are my getter and setter methods. So I have set length, get length. Similarly, set breadth and get breadth. Okay. So now remember, my length and breadth are still private, but now I have methods, these methods through which I can access them. Okay. So if you want, you can see that these are all default modifiers. You can make them private or you can make them public if you want. So I'm going to remove this line and simply write it like this: R1 dot set length. I'm going to call this method and 10. Similarly, R1 dot set breadth to say 5. Okay. Same way for R2 also. And again, lazy me, I'll just copy it and paste it here. So instead of R1 now, I'm going to put R2. And then I'm going to change the values, say 11 and 15. Okay. So now, see, I'm not directly accessing length and breadth, but I'm accessing them through the methods set and get. Same way, so these two errors are the errors that had occurred here would be solved from this by making this change. So I need to change it here also. So here, since I'm not setting, I'm just retrieving. So I will use get length method. Similarly, here I would use get breadth method. Please notice, if you don't give this parenthesis, it will mean that it is not a method, it is a data member, so it will give you an error. So don't forget to give these parentheses. Similarly for this also, length, no arguments, get breadth, no arguments. Fine. So we have created this class. Now let me just save this and go back and run it. So we are back here at the command prompt. So let me just compile it now. Fine. So no errors. So now our data members are still private, but we have accessed the values through the methods. Now let us run it. Java rectangle access mod. Okay, so you can see dimensions of rectangle 1 is 10 and 5, area is this, dimensions of rectangle 2 is this, and area is 165. So here one thing to notice is that this is actually how your design should be. For whenever you're designing any class, always the data members should not be accessible from outside. You should not allow access to your data. That's the rule. That's the rule of encapsulation and also abstraction. Because the moment you allow the access to your data inside a class from outside, okay, it will become prone to misuse. So it can be unintentionally, these values can be given a value which they are not supposed to get. Okay, so what is the thumb rule for designing any class? Make the data members private and give methods to access them. So through these methods you can make them accessible. Now suppose I don't want that the length and breadth is modified. Okay, I don't want anyone to modify the length and breadth, but I have these methods. Now what do I do? What I can do is I can make these methods as private. So set length is going to modify the length, so I'm going to make it private. Similarly, set breadth, I am going to make it private. Fine. So now if you again compile and see, save, again compile, you'll get errors. Yeah, because set length and set breadth is asking, but it is private, so we cannot call it from outside. So let's go back and make a modification. So now that means I cannot use these statements, okay, because set length and set breadth are private. So what do I want? I want that only there will be one method inside this class which will assign values. Okay, so private, since it is private, set length and set breadth, okay, I can only call it from inside the rectangle class. Okay, so I'm going to call these methods from inside the rectangle class. So let me make a method. So void set values int L int B. Okay, so this is a method, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply call this method set length and set breadth. Okay, so set length, I'm going to pass L to it, set breadth, I'm going to pass B to it. See, it is doing the same thing, but I'm not allowing this values to be changed from outside. Okay, so now I cannot use these statements. I'm going to just omit this. I'll remove this. Okay, now see, set values is private, oh sorry, it is public, so I can call set values from outside. So I give 10 and 5. Same way I will just put it here, R2 set values 11 and 15. Saved. Okay, let's go back here. So fine, it is compiling, executing. Okay, so what we have done is we have made certain methods private, and those private methods we can again call from only inside the class. We are calling them from inside the class. Just note one thing here. See, from outside the class, how am I calling the methods? How was I calling the methods? By using the object name r1.setLength, r1.setBreadth. But here from inside the class, inside the rectangle class, I can call the methods just directly. I don't need an object for it. Okay, so that's the difference from inside the class and outside the class. So we'll discuss more about these access modifiers. That is, we have seen private, we have seen public, and we have also seen default. For the protected access modifiers, we will discuss this in the coming videos.